Hello and welcome back to Mayster Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about Billy Eichner's Bros, if I'm saying his name right. Yeah, I think he co-wrote this. I could be very wrong about that. But he does star in it, and he's kind of I think he's definitely a producer, and he's kind of the driving force of this project, along with the likes of Tom Cruise would be in a Top Gun or a Mission Impossible film, like Maverick this year, and Dead Reckoning Part 1 next year. This film, I honestly don't know what to say about it, and I don't know whether this is because those who watched the Valentine's Day special from Matthew May Show know that I'm at least somewhat part of the community that this film covers, but I'm on very much the outer circle of it. Maybe it's because I'm not well infused in the community's ways and the movements in general, but a lot of the lingo in this film, which is to do with that, which was said pretty much every 5 seconds, it was a very jarring experience, as if we were saying a completely different way of life. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I feel the film was made. I don't know if I think I've heard somewhere it's called like a cultist film or something like that. I think that's the wrong term entirely. But I think it's or something along those lines, where a film is made for a specific demographic and doesn't really appeal. I think their goal was to try and make a film that appealed to the masses, but also appealed more so to the group itself. I think this appeals to the group on a very intimate level, but not the mainstream. I feel it was a bit of a failure in that sense, where I don't feel it completely relayed to the wider audience, and it was a bit of I felt as an audience member of the outside looking in. I felt personally that it was like there was no real grounding to it. They tried to take away stereotypes, but then bring in lines like, oh, such and such, he's texting like that, he clearly mustn't be a gay guy, then introducing this classification of what makes for a gay guy, therefore enforcing a stereotype. You know what I mean? It's a bit contradictory. That was the problematic issue I had with it. Aside from that, it's more of what I said, that it's kind of like, I don't it was very much made in that sense where it relates, it's as acting as if its audience is already in on the joke, but it's mainly only the group itself that's in on the joke. And from a business point of view, I don't know if that was the wisest move to make, because it might not make a lot of money telling the story like that, where it's kind of like the group's in on the joke, but no one else is. If you make it for a specific demographic and nobody else, and not try and boost that wide appeal for what has been branded by Universal as the first mainstream gay rom-com, you find difficulties if it's not in some way appealing to the mainstream. So that's anyway, it's from more of a business perspective, this review, but that's what I felt the Bros anyway. But it was a good time. Some of the jokes landed, some didn't, for me personally. But it was the characters were likable in it, I guess. But yeah, it was a good fun time. So that is my review of Bros, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.